Nyakote Albert Tete.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Yilo Krobo.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Okay. Table of Office, kindly take note. Page 20. Yes, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. On page 19, under 3 in attendance, VII, it should read Mrs. Abna Osei Asari, not Miss. Thank you.
Is she present? I want to know whether she's present, so I will be sure whether she writes Miss or Mrs.
Mr. Speaker, it's always been Mrs.
But you didn't object to it? Or it meant that you were not focused on it?
I guess so.
Table Office kindly capture the correct rendition. The title is Mrs. Page 20, page 21, page 22. Yes, please.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Page 22, item numbered LXVIII. Mr. Kojo Jekedaku, Member, Elections Directorate, National Democratic Congress. His Kojo is spelled KWADWO, not KOJO. Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
So his is Kwajo. Table Office, kindly take note of that. Page 23. Page 24. Page 25. Page 25, yes.
Right Honourable Speaker. On page 25, I remember on that day I was part of the committee. I had the opportunity to even ask Honourable Mutala some questions, but I've realized that my name doesn't show as appearing. And so if the Table Office can correct that for me. My name is John Darko.
Yes, Table Office, kindly take note. Page 26, page 27, page 28. Honourable members, the votes and proceedings of the 10th sitting, dated Friday, 31st January 2025, as corrected, is adopted as a true record of proceedings. I'm sure you now have copies of the votes and proceedings of Thursday, 30th January 2025. Very short one, page 1. Page 2, page 3. Yes, please.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Please, we don't have, for me, okay, at my end, I can't find it on the system, and then we don't also have a hard copy. Neither a hard copy or a soft copy to review. That's the Thursday.
You can't find your name?
No, we don't have it in the system, the computer or It's not available for us to read.
It's not the votes and proceedings of
The Thursday.
no. Well, then we'll leave that until the right time when members have copies. So, honorable members, let's take the official report of Friday, 24th January 2025. Any corrections? Honorable members, in the absence of any correction, the official report of Friday, 24th January 2025 is hereby adopted as the true record of proceedings. Honorable members, we move to item 7, statements. I have an indication from the leadership of the House that the minority leader will be making a statement. And I think this is the appropriate time for him to make the statement before we move to your statements. So please, Minority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for this treasure space to make this statement before you and my colleagues. Mr. Speaker, as captured in the vote and proceedings of Friday, the 31st of January, paragraph 5 and page 7, you had cause to deliver a formal communication. With communication, you outline your displeasure on matters at the appointment committee on the evening of Thursday, the 30th of January, and the morning of Friday, the 31st of January. Mr. Speaker, indeed, your response to the event as a leader and the head of this assembly was indeed timely to assure the public that indeed this House is ready to uphold democracy and to do what is right in the eyes of the public. That notwithstanding, Mr. Speaker, I had ferried to your office a memo dated the 3rd of February 2025, where I raised some procedural concerns regarding the outcome of your communication. Mr. Speaker, to couch the matters that arose in proper perspective, on the said day, the Thursday, the 30th of January, as per the practice, we had agreed to proceed to vet some 4 nominees. Originally, we were supposed to do 3. This 4 later changed to 5. Around about 10 p.m. of the evening, we had indications from our colleagues in the majority that they intend to continue the vetting for more nominees rather than agreed. Mr. Speaker, on the corridors of the vetting room were many people, including nominees. Our understanding was that they had all been invited. Mr. Speaker, there was no room for us to discuss the way forward, which resulted in our decision as the minority to protest. Our intention was to have a peaceful protest to express our displeasure at the excesses of our colleagues in the majority. We acknowledge that in the process, the situation got out of hand, resulting in the outcome you commented upon. We hereby assure you that we shall, as the minority, cooperate with you in upholding the integrity and the dignity of this House. Mr. Speaker, we also want to assure you that we will undertake a deeper, and emphasis mine, a deeper consultation and commit to this with our colleagues. Suffice to state that from day one that Mr. President started ferrying his nominees to this House, we have given this government our utmost cooperation. Mr. Speaker, records will have it that this is the first time in the history of our democracy that the minority has given the government such a cooperation to the extent that nominees are getting their confirmation in record time. Indeed, Mr. Speaker, I am on record to have made an application to this House under Order 3. This has never happened by any minority leader in the history of our democracy. We believe in constructive criticism. We are not in any way in to disrupt government business, frustrate them, or undermine them. Both parties have been in government before and have been in opposition before. We know that it is not through disruption that would win us power come 2028. It is through active, constructive politicking. Mr. Speaker, we have become aware of the consequences of orders you have issued as a result of the formal communication you have given. But this is what we have to say. And I quote from Shakespeare's Merchant of Venice. Mr. Speaker, you remember the story of Shylock when he demanded his pound of flesh. A plea came from Portia, who was the supposed counsel for the debtor. Mr. Speaker, this is what he had to say, and I rely on it to mount the next line of my submission. That the quality of mercy is not strained, drop it as a gentle rain from heaven upon the earth beneath. It is twice blessed. It blessed him that gives and him that takes. Mr. Speaker, we cannot take your power to discipline from you. But we believe that when this is tempered with assurance that the way forward will be better, you will be able to reinstate our colleagues who temporarily have been denied access to this chamber and the precincts of Parliament. Ours is not to undermine your authority. After all, it is the confidence we had in you that made us, by consensus, to vote you into office. And we accept your authority. Mr. Speaker, we do not think that we should litigate this matter, even on procedure. We are more interested in the outcome, which is not a desired outcome. Today, I, on behalf of my caucus, would want to assure the public that such an action will not be seen in the public space again. Mr. Speaker, I take full responsibility as a leader on my side on all actions that took place. I will therefore conclude by inviting you, Mr. Speaker, to, in the circumstance and with assurances given, to consider a rescission of the decision you communicated to the House, as well as all consequential matters thereto. Mr. Speaker, without more, I shall thank you for hearing me and resume my seat. Thank you very much.
Honourable members, I believe this statement may need your comments, and depending on how you want it to be handled, I would prefer it's handled at the leadership level and not beyond that. But this is your house, and not only my house. I am duty-bound to maintain law and order. And so I will allow the majority leader to have a say on this matter.
Mr. Speaker, the popular saying is that to err is human, to forgive is speakerly. Mr. Speaker, as you can see, I have replaced divine with speaker. That elevates you to an almost godly stature. My colleague, the minority leader, has spoken. He has recounted the happenings of Thursday and Friday. So, Speaker, it is a fact that the first time His Excellency John Dramani Mahama nominated the first time The first time, the first set of ministerial nominees were announced was on the 9th of January 2025. Today, Mr. Speaker, is the 4th of February 2025. We are not yet even 1 month into the administration of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. But, Mr. Speaker, we have vetted and approved a number of ministers, but overall, we have vetted and by the close of today, would have approved 42 ministerial nominees out of 60. The reason why we are even at 42 is because since Friday, we have not yet received any additional nominations. So in effect, we have finished vetting and hope to conclude the approval of 42 nominees to ministerial appointments. As a matter of fact, all those who have been nominated to serve as the cabinet of the government have actually been vetted and some approved by this House. This is a record performance that this House should be proud of itself. And we have done so in spite of the theatrics and the drama with the cooperation and support of our colleagues on the minority side. If in the process there have been some incidents, they are regrettable. And so, Mr. Speaker, I will support the appeal of my colleague, the minority leader, that you temper justice with mercy. I agree that your decision to suspend some colleagues was timely, and I believe that it has been understood by the generality of Ghanaians as a step that restored the image of this parliament. And so, Mr. Speaker, I believe that your action has achieved its objectives. But as you can see, our colleagues are remorseful. Our colleagues accept your decision in good faith. And our colleagues are appealing to you to review your decision to suspend your suspension, to reconsider your decision to suspend. Mr. Speaker, it is not only members of the minority side that were suspended. In fact, the chief whip of the majority side was also suspended. So clearly, the conduct was on both sides. And I also, on behalf of my side, appeal to you to reconsider your decision and lift the suspensions so that our colleagues can join us, whilst the other measures that you are putting in place so that long term we can ensure the orderly conduct of business in this House is achieved. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, I'm sure the first thing you have realized is that I've restored the title Honorable. The day I read my former communication to you and proceeded to suspend the 4 members, I never used the term honorable. I have done so now because your leaders actually came to me to plead that I temper justice with mercy. If any of you here is not remorseful, please be on your feet. Honorable member, you are not, please. Honorable member. It's important, and I can tell you, I understand and appreciate what is happening. This house is often referred to as a house of might and majesty. Might, because it's the combination of the sovereignty of all the people in the country. Majesty, because the king or queen is part of the house. And therefore, there can be no power higher than that of Parliament. And the person who represents Parliament is the Speaker. And so I sit here and I exercise your powers, and I create an environment for you to be able to perform your function. And I go according to the rules. You can disagree with the Speaker, and the rules and the laws of Ghana permit you to do so, and also details out the procedure on how to handle the disagreement. But the rules are very clear as to what they refer to as disorder or contempt of Parliament. And for me to preserve and uphold that might, majesty, and dignity of the House, I should not shed any responsibility in applying and enforcing the rules. And that was exactly what I did. Even though some of the members are my personal friends, are referred to as sons. So please, you can ask your leaders when they approach me with this. Yes, as a father, when your son commits an offense, you don't punish the son to the extent that you break his or her leg. That becomes a big problem for you, the father. And nobody is perfect. We are all fallible. So, and here it was repeated by the minority leader for and on behalf of the members of the caucus and supported by the majority leader. It's not only words. Before me, they demonstrated and assured me of their total support to me and the deputy speakers to ensure that we have an efficient and an effective functioning parliament in Ghana. So I am satisfied with not just the statement, but also their conduct. And I will proceed to lift the suspension of the 4 members of Parliament that I considered were involved in disorderly conduct which amounted to contempt. The rules are very clear, and I did refer to them and stated clearly that because we are in the transitional mood, we will not be able to put committees in place, including that of the Privileges and Immunities Committee. And the standing orders grant me the power and authority to do what I did. And clearly, the jurisprudence are very clear that when contempt is committed in facie curia, you don't proceed to set up another committee or court or whatever to investigate and submit a report. And so I referred to the one in Parliament. My very good honorable member, you are at liberty, even after this, to proceed anywhere. I have no problem meeting you in court, but that's where I was farming for many years before I became a member of Parliament. So I have lifted the suspension order, and I do so instantly, and it takes effect immediately. The honorable members so affected are permitted now to enter the presence of the House. I must say that they complied. They actually complied with the orders. And the standing orders are clear. And presence of Parliament is defined. And we have the men and women to enforce the law. And they actually did enforce the law. So I want to commend the members and also the law enforcement agencies, Marshal's Department, the police service, for their support. Let me once again assure the House of my commitment to upholding the dignity of this House. all of you seated here, I am responsible for upholding your rights and protecting all of you. And those who have felt the branches of the law, honorable member, when it is before me, nobody can save you. When it's outside, you can run to me, I will go and save you. And you can ask your colleagues. A lot has come before me, and I've always intervened, both sides, to protect the members and to save them. You can ask all the state agencies involved. And so it's not restricted to any side, both sides, all members. Those of you who don't know it, that's why I'm drawing your attention to it. But there's a procedure because it's not you. You now represent a whole constituency, large number of men and women, children, elderly people. That is what you are made of now. People. That is what you are made of now, not as individuals. And the rights of all that group cannot be taken for granted. So please, we do so without fear or favor. But let me say that I have read some media reports, Master, treating honorable members, some members of the House have referred to me as headmaster. Treating honorable members as session. But I can assure you that when there are students, there must be a headmaster. If you don't have a headmaster, you know what is going to happen in the school. The former Minister of Education is nodding his head. He says, qui multum datum. It's very simple. To whom much is given, much is expected. And so they expect so much from you. And don't forget that there's life after Parliament. With this, I want to thank all of you for your attention. And I promise you the investigations will continue. The report will be brought to the House, procedure outlined by our rules, by our practice, and by custom and convention of the House. That will be done. Honorable members, self-regulation is better than external regulation. Matter should be handled by the special committee at the committee level and report to us. I've told the leaders to make themselves available to the committee and to state exactly what happened, because we want nothing but facts, nothing but the truth, so that we can apply the rules. What you know here is not known by the public. What you do here is also not known by the public. And so when you rush to the public, one word can confuse the whole country. But that word will be understood differently in the education, a matter of advocacy, and we will focus on it. So I thank you all, and please, let's continue to work together as a family. Thank you so much. I'm just being informed that the leaders want to say a word or two. And so, once again,
Mr. Speaker, I convey the gratitude of the Minority Caucus on your final decision in these matters. Treats our continuous cooperation and believe that the gesture thus far shown by you and that of my respected senior colleague and senior at the bar who leads the house, we will make things better, and that we would have a big stomach to accommodate ourselves, especially
leader,
Mr. Speaker, today I'm taking lessons in humility. My brother and colleague, Mr. Speaker, we thank you very much for your magnanimity and considering our appeals and on the going forward. I believe we're in a better